At Thanksgiving, my cousin grinned and asked, "Your brother's wedding was amazing, so when's yours?" Everyone turned to me. I said, "I already had it, August 12th. You all got invitations." A minute later, I was sliding delivery receipts across the table, watching faces go pale. I'd stopped updating my family on my life around 24. My brother was the golden child, so every promotion got a toast. When he got bumped up, we did a fancy steakhouse and my dad gave a speech. 3 months later, I got promoted to lead developer, managing 8 people, and my mom said, "Oh, that's nice," while scrolling her phone. Then I met Jordan. They were kind, steady, and their family actually acted like family. The first time I met them, their mom hugged me at the door and their dad asked about my job and waited for the answer. Jordan and I got engaged about a year and a half in. Jordan's family celebrated like we'd won the lottery. My family gave it maybe 30 seconds at Sunday brunch. Mom said, "Congratulations, honey," and then immediately asked my brother, "Did you and your fiancé pick the caterer?" Jordan squeezed my hand under the table, and I felt stupid for expecting more. I still tried one last time. We planned a small mountain wedding for August 12th and ordered nice invitations, cream cardstock, gold lettering. I sent every single one certified mail, signature required, because I wanted proof. The confirmations came back signed, my parents on June 15th at 10:47 a.m., my brother on June 16th at 2:32 p.m., my sister on June 14th at 3:15 p.m. The RSVP deadline was July 15th. Nothing. I texted my mom, "Did you get it?" 3 hours later, she replied, "Oh yeah, is that really happening?" I said, "Yes, everything's in the envelope." She wrote, "We'll see. Summer is busy." Meanwhile, the family group chat had 143 messages about my brother's wedding. When I posted reminder my wedding is Aug 12, I got a thumbs up, a heart, and a smiley, nothing else. So we got married without them. 50 guests showed up, Jordan's parents, siblings, cousins, my friends, my coworkers. Not one blood relative. Someone asked, "Where's your family?" And I said, they couldn't make it, like it didn't sting. The weird part was realizing it barely did. After that, my family acted like it never happened. I wore my wedding ring to 3 brunches and nobody noticed. In early November, I went to my brother's vineyard wedding alone and sat with distant cousins. My dad cried during his speech about his son. I watched it all while my ring caught the reception lights and still got ignored. 2 weeks later, Mom re-added me to the group chat and ordered, "Thanksgiving at our house. Everyone must come." I pulled up the delivery confirmations in my email and called the invitation company for official copies. They sent PDFs with every signature and timestamp. I printed them, put them in a folder, and told Jordan, "I'm done being invisible." After dinner, football murmured in the background. My cousin asked again when I'd finally settled down. I set my fork down. Then I said, "I already did." Next, I looked at my parents and added, "Last summer." Dad snapped, "We never got any invitation." So I stood up. I walked to the entry table. I picked up the folder. I came back and opened it. I slid the first receipt to my mom. June 15th, 10:47 a.m. Signed at your house. Her hand shook. I slid one to my brother and his wife. June 16th, 2:32 p.m. "That's your signature," his wife whispered. I thought it was junk mail. I slid one to my sister. June 14th, 3:15 p.m. "Yours." She stared at her own handwriting like it belonged to someone else. I said, "You got them. You just didn't care enough to open them." Mom started crying. "I didn't think you were serious. You saw my name and tossed it," I said. "That's what you did." Dad tried. "You should have followed up." I said, "I did." You said, "We'll see." The room stayed dead quiet. Then I held up my left hand. "I've been wearing this ring for 3 months. None of you noticed." They all talked at once, apologies, excuses, panic. Mom begged to meet Jordan. Dad called me dramatic. I put the papers back in the folder and stood up. "Love isn't what you say," I told them. "It's what you do." I left the folder on the entry table, walked out, and drove home. My phone blew up the whole way. Over 100 missed calls. I turned it off. The only letter that felt real came from my grandma. She didn't know. She would have come. She was happy for us. I wrote her back. And that December, Jordan and I stayed home, ate dinner at our own table, and enjoyed the silence.